Very tough, very good chance they might drop down into the lower bracket to start off their group stages. Not a great place to be either. So a little bit of luck involved, but at the end of the day, your fate's in your own hands, John.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we haven't really talked too much about Pendo Sports, but I think Pendo Sports is another one of those teams that we might consider within the top 4, or we expect to see in the top 4. Certainly for me, I do. So there's a lot of experience on that roster. Some of these players have been playing since the 2015 Grand Finals, potentially even earlier than that. So I think, with that amalgamation of some of the former Flipside players that we saw through from last year, some of the superstars from the Penta Sports roster, this is definitely a very strong-looking European side. So maybe one of the best chances for a non-Chinese victor here this year.
Well, that was it, right? STDX last year, I felt like, we saw them come through. They certainly performed very well, but in the end, they just weren't good enough.
Yeah.
Is this the year in that we might see someone from Europe or North America?
To me, they just choked a little bit towards the end of their game against Super Valiant, and why wouldn't you, of course, up against an absolute powerhouse. But I think this could be the year. I mean, not just SCDX, but ruLegends as well. But SCDX, they made a bit of a change in their lineup, so they're hopefully coming in a little bit stronger. They've sorted out all the issues that they would have had last year, and I mean, they've got the recipe. They just need to put it together.
Yeah. So let's go through this format, what we're going to see. So today, it's all best of ones. All of group stages are best of one games through regular games. 4 teams in each group.
Correct.
You win your game, you go through to the upper bracket final. If you lose, you drop down to the lower bracket. The top 2 teams from each group make their way through. So how does that play out? Obviously, some teams might not get to play very many games at all. You win your 2 games, easy done. Your week's over, you go to Nanjing, and you find yourselves in the finals. Other teams have to drop into the lower bracket. They play an extra game, a little bit tougher for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think for this kind of a format, there is always the potential for upsets early on. Today, first match of the day, you potentially drop that one if you're maybe the favored team. But you always have the opportunity to come through from the lower bracket. So it's not necessarily the case, I think, that we're going to see too many upsets throughout the entire group. But I think we are going to see upsets in each particular match. But once the team's lost, once they're the expected team down in the lower bracket, I don't think we're going to be seeing them drop too much further than that. They should be able to make their way through the lower bracket, in my eyes at least.
So this is Group B. The JSV up against ruLegends is going to be our first matchup of the day as well.
Well, for me, I think the other thing you've got to keep in mind is that the map is decided already, right? So you might not get a favourable map. So this could be a good opportunity for an upset. But this first game, if you want to talk about that one at all,
let's get into that.
ruLegends versus the Indonesians. Now, look, I think we all know the favourite here is going to be ruLegends. They're tipped to make it towards the latter end of the stages of the tournament. But again, we don't know really how good they're going to be on every single map across the way. So a good opportunity here for the new guys on the block as well.
Yeah, let's talk about this format in that regards where we know what the maps are. There's quite an opportunity there to go back once you know who you're playing, at least in your first game. You can sort of strategize, maybe create something just for that team.
Well, in theory, you know exactly what match you're going to be playing against whom and on what map, so you're right, they should have an idea. That said, the map pool was only decided, a week or a week and a half ago when they did do the group draws as well, so they haven't had a huge amount of time to kind of get an idea of exactly what they're going to be playing. But the map pool for CFS has not changed in years. We've been playing the same map pool for multiple years in a row. So I think for the majority of these teams, they should be fairly comfortable. The map pool is not that large. I think when you look at it, most teams should be able to play on most maps. Of course, everyone's going to have their favorites, but I don't think it's so big such that, you're going to have a map which you really don't want to play.
Ian, as an ex-professional player yourself, how would you come into this knowing who you're going to be heading up against and on what map? Would have you prepared something specifically for them?
Absolutely. You would have prepared something, even if it wasn't particularly for a certain opponent, but you would have something ready for, when times get tough. You wouldn't want to use all your good stuff in the first couple of games.
Saving strats,
you definitely want to be saving something, yes. But if the time comes and it comes down to being eliminated or not, you're going to whip those out. So I don't know if we'll see a lot of those from ruLegends. I think we might just see standard play and see if they can get through the game doing that. But if it does get very close, you're going to see some brilliant strategies.
Yeah, ruLegends, John, this team, we've seen, they've been in CROSSFIRE for so long right now. The players here are experienced. we're expecting a lot from them this weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
This week even.
I mean, we've seen them get 4th place in 2016 at the CFS Grand Finals. Last year, they didn't quite manage to reach those expectations, and I think for ruLegends in particular, last year maybe was a little bit disappointing. They were tipped to be definitely a team that could make it through a fair distance. This year, again, I think that the hype surrounding ruLegends actually coming in is even more high than what it is from last year or from previous years. So now with a couple of years Grand Finals under their belt, with that one new addition coming into their roster, with all of that experience that they do have on the other 4 members, it's definitely looking like a strong team, and their form certainly seems to be pretty good at the moment as well. So how far they are going to be able to go is a real question for me. You know, how far is it going to be when they get up against the Chinese teams? Because that seems to be where everyone really runs into a bit of a roadblock. But for now, we're expecting at least, or we're hoping at least, that ruLegends is going to be able to maybe even make it through to the Grand Final.
Yeah, you talk about the roadblock, I think, particularly when it gets to the BO3 stages. I think in the BO1, that's your chance against the Chinese. Because they're not great on every single map. You know, no one is. But if you get them on one of your good ones and you get them early, then that's your chance. But the BO3, that's a whole nother beast, especially once you get them in front of the crowd.
The benefit for ruLegends is that they don't actually have one of the Chinese teams in their group.
No.
So Group B is the one without a Chinese team. They do still kind of have to go up against Carbon, which I also expect is, I think we would put on a sort of similar level in terms of the storyline coming in here to ruLegends, where they looked all right last year. We sort of had expectations or hopes maybe for them. And I think for Carbon, or STDX in particular last year, they sort of exceeded the expectations. They were able to go a little bit further than we thought they were going to be able to. But now, coming into this year, that raises the bar now for them. You know, if they don't get to the top 4, like what they did last year,
that's it.
It doesn't make it worth it.
The pressure's there now as well. If we've moved this across to talk about their opponents from Indonesia, JKOSAV Evolution, we all know what it's like to be within a region. Perhaps you're playing within the best of your country. But then when you come onto the world stage, when you come up against the best in the world, it can be very difficult to make that step.
It can be, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got to keep in mind that their region is very tough. You know, they are the 2018 national finals champions. So, and their region obviously will have, well, obviously the national finals, but they have, Pacific Makta just across the road, Pacific Warrior as well.
Well, we're looking at our ruLegends on the screen right now. These guys getting ready to play. It's going to be, I think, they're probably feeling relatively comfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think coming
they'd be coming in as absolute favourites in this game.
They definitely are. I mean, they're the team that's been here, been around the block time and time again, where JKOSAV have not really had that kind of an opportunity. We've got the 4 players through from last year, being Drace, Exawa, Vice, and Freak. Now, last year we saw a lot of great stuff out from Freak. He is obviously the sniper for this roster, and he was always a big proponent of their success, so expecting to see good stuff from him again this year. The new player coming in is Stray, so we have to see how he's going to perform in this roster. Obviously, he has been playing with them for a little while, but this will be his first Grand Finals, and so coming into some pretty big shoes to fill, I think, for these boys.
Yeah, a bit of pressure, I think, for him. It's his first real outing here, coming through to CFS 2018. See how that comes down. We'll see what the pressure is like. But overall, you think that you can, if you're in a team of legends, no pun intended, but if you're in a team of legends, it can be easy enough to lift to the occasion.
There's 2 sides to the coin, isn't there, Ben? So there's you're surrounded by superstars. You just need to do your own job. There's no pressure on you in particular, because if you make a mistake, someone might carry you a little bit. But then there's the flip side of that as well. There's there's a bit of pressure here. You're with all these great names. If you're not up to scratch, you're going to stand out, as being the worst person on the team. So there is pressure definitely coming in as the new guy. But I think there's no better way to start off than a team like JKOSAV. I think that's going to be really good for their confidence building going into the later stages of the group, where they might come up against a powerhouse team like Boss, or something of that equivalent. Don't forget, ruLegends, they still need to get out of the group. You've got Carbon as well.
I mean, in my mind, ruLegends and Carbon, I think, are the 2 strongest teams within this group. So I think the match between Carbon and ruLegends is definitely going to be a good one. So for obviously, just for ruLegends here against JKOSAV, great start, being able to sort of warm their way into the group. And the same for Carbon going up against Boss, who aren't necessarily considered the best team within Indonesia.
Yeah, and here we now, JKOSAV Evolution. As we said, they're the Indonesian champions. It's not like it's not a tough region for them to play in, but as we said, here now coming onto the world stage, a lot of pressure, a lot of money on the line as well. This is life-changing money that these players are playing for here, and to go up against a team like ruLegends, very tough,
especially in Indonesia as well. So I mean, I think, look, they're up against it without a doubt. But if they can put in a good showing against ruLegends, when they get to the other teams like Carbon and Boss, then I think that's where they're going to be able to cause some damage. I remember last year, Jordan, we kind of ruled out Everteam a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, the Vietnamese squad, they're just here to have fun. Next thing you know, they're just smashing everyone.
They were popping heads.
Heads, making it through to the grand final. So look, I don't want to rule out JKOSAV, and I don't think they'll be looking to rule themselves out either. I think they'll be very comfortable coming up against a team, even though a high caliber, but a team like ruLegends.
Yeah, well, it's an exciting thing to do. It's time for them, on the world stage, sort of step up and show us how good the Indonesian players are. We know that as an esports scene, they're quite well developed. They have a lot of competitions over there as well. So plenty of opportunity to have trained up and be ready for this. But now the pressure's on, absolutely. And well, to go up against ruLegends first off, definitely a tough ask. But fortunately, the benefit of this double elimination best of one is that you've got an opportunity to come through. You only need to pick up that one good map at the start, and you can put yourself in a prime position.
Even if they don't pick up the map, Ben, it is just about pride on the line. Yeah, you want to put in a good showing for Indonesia. You want to put in a good showing for your region, and I think that's where JKOSAV just have to start off aiming for that. And if they get the game close enough, then they can start worrying about winning. But that's where a little bit of pressure comes in. We see teams choke it out. A bit like maybe what happened to STDX last year against Super Valiant. They had the game in their hands, but the pressure of having to close it out once it got to that point was a bit difficult.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no pressure actually coming into this match, really, for JKOSAV, and they don't have to worry about too much. But, I mean, if they start off well and they start sort of putting pressure on ruLegends themselves, then I think a little bit comes back their way. So, definitely a lot to think about for JKOSAV. The one advantage I can see for them is obviously we haven't necessarily seen too much or expected too much out from the Indonesian region when it does come to CROSSFIRE. So, there is certainly a weight of expectation on the ruLegends roster who, we do have a better idea as to where they're going to go. So if they drop this first match, then there's definitely going to be questions asked. For JKOSAV, if they drop this first match, that's kind of the expected result. So no real problems for them, and then they just have to focus in on their next match in that lower bracket match.
Yeah, and the other teams in Group B are Carbon from North America and Boss from Vietnam. So the potential there to go up against one of those teams and maybe find themselves in perhaps a little bit of a better position.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the next game in this group with Boss and Carbon is definitely going to be a cracker in itself. But, if you're JKOSAV, you probably do want to come off against the Boss team, and that's saying a lot, really. I mean, Carbon, they're going to be a great powerhouse coming into this later stages of the tournament if they can get there. So I think that other game is going to be really defining. This one here, not so much. And that's why I think neither team needs to worry too much. I think ruLegends just need to come out of the gates and prove to everyone that they're here to play. But at the same time, they're definitely going to be saving something for the end of the tournament and make it that far.
Yeah, it's a long week as well of CROSSFIRE.
Huge week. Yeah.
Starting off, it's only Tuesday. We're talking about finals on a Sunday as well.
The thing is, also, Ben, this is the tournament, right? This is the one that everyone probably puts in more effort and more dedication than any other CROSSFIRE tournament in the world. This is the one. And that's why we see the Chinese team stand up time and time again. And I think now is the time where everyone's had an opportunity to verse the Chinese on quite a regular basis as well. So they're going to come into this tournament actually with a chance to take it out. So, look, can't really rule out anyone, but I do think a team like ruLegends, I've been saying all week, I guess, that I think it's time, and if anyone, it's going to be them.
It's a good point, though, as well, that Ian makes, is that the more that we have these large international competitions with a ton on the line, the more opportunity for people to improve. And, yeah, the closer it gets, the closer these teams come together. You can only be so much better than everyone else before they start catching up.
It definitely does feel like the gap is closing a little bit. When the first time I did CROSSFIRE was in 2015, we saw HG, and they pretty much swarmed their way through the group stage. They swarmed their way through the playoffs, and they also managed to get a 3-0. I think it was over Penta in the grand final at that point. And since then, we've also seen Vici in 2016, Super Valiant then in 2017. But there was some upset matches. There seems to be closer results than what we've been used to seeing in previous years. So I definitely think there is something to be said for maybe the rest of the competition catching up. And a lot of that maybe is down to the fact that we're seeing more teams start to play in the Pro League here in China, and they're obviously getting exposure to the best teams in the world a lot more regularly than they used to be able to. So I definitely think there's a lot of teams that are starting to catch up here. Is it going to be this year maybe where they do actually finally overtake the Chinese region, or are we going to have to wait until next year? I don't really know. I don't have the answer for you, but I do think at the moment that the expectation is at least that this is the year that has the best possibility thus far that we're going to see a non-Chinese.
Well, I guess that's the nature of, right, the longer you go, as we said, the closer that gap gets. And when last year we saw it could have been.
It had to happen eventually, right?
Yeah, it could have been last year.
To be fair, it actually has happened already this year, right? We had Pacific Makta being able to win CFGI. Now, that is CFGI. It's not the Grand Finals. It's not CFS. But it is still a big international competition that the majority of the top teams in the world were at. A great result for Pacific Makta. And I thought if they were going to make their way through to CFS Grand Finals this year, they were definitely going to be one that we would be expecting to have a good, strong opportunity to actually pick up the win. They've been third 3 years in a row. But unfortunately, they haven't actually made their way here. They've been knocked out in the Philippines national finals. So what does that say then about Execration and Pacific Wara? Perhaps, maybe they're even better than Pacific.
Execration coming through as the champions in the Philippines. That's such a huge upset when you consider how good Pacific Makta were last year, Ian.
Yeah, the other thing I want us to consider as well is that, remember, Black Dragons, they won that CROSSFIRE Invitational in Vietnam. Yep. So, there's non-Chinese teams winning events all around. But when it comes to this one...
Yeah.
Is it because this prestige attached?
It's so prestigious.
Is it the Chinese audience?
Is it the $500,000 for first place, man?
Yeah, well, that's a lot. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
That's just first place as well. That's not the whole prize pool. So it's quite a big amount of cash. US dollars as well, by the way. So there's definitely a lot to play for pretty much all these teams, and especially for the Chinese teams. I think you don't want to be, let's say you are the Chinese team that gets through to the grand final, assuming a Chinese team gets through to the grand final this year. You don't want to be that team that was the first to lose out of the last 5 or 6 years.
That would be very humiliating.
It's pressure. There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to me to see how the newer teams come through and how they deal with that. And then, of course, the more experienced teams. When there's no expectation on you, you're really just playing for pride, just trying to represent your region, do as well as you can do.
Just like with Indonesia right here. And I think the flip side to that, if I want to be devil's advocate today, then you've got the fact that some teams and some players strive under pressure. So when there isn't that pressure, then you can sometimes, let a game slip by the cracks. But some people, when their back is to the wall and they've got everything to fight for, that's when they play better.
Yeah, that's it, right? It really comes down to individuals and how they can deal with it. Here today, the pressure is not from the audience. The pressure, I think, is from their fans at home and, of course, from themselves.
From themselves, yeah. I think that's really the key takeaway here because, sure, there are fans at home, but you may not be getting that same sense that you might be when you're in China compared to when you're within your home country. I think it's a lot more accessible for these guys to kind of interact with their fans when they are in their own country. But now you're in China, you're sort of isolated a little bit. It sort of feels maybe like you and your team against the world, and in a sense that is exactly what this competition is.
It is, yeah.
You've got teams from all around the world, and it's just you and the other 4 guys and maybe a coach and maybe a manager that comes along or someone from the org, and that's all. That's everyone from your side of things that you kind of have to work with. And so I think there is a little bit of camaraderie maybe in that sense, and so everyone's going to be trying to put that pressure away from themselves and just start thinking about the job that they have to do. But yeah, I really think that if there is going to be any pressure on these guys, at least today, it is more so going to be from their own expectations and from their own thoughts rather than anything else, really.
And today, for a lot of these teams, they're only going to be playing one game today. We're starting off with the round 1 matches, 9 of those total pushing through, and then when we get through the end of the day, of course, we're going to have our Group A and our Group B upper bracket final. So you have an opportunity to be done. Right,
yeah.
You've locked in your slot. If you're from Group A or Group B, you've locked in your slot for the funds for the student.
You've shot your best shot.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you want to get through the week nice and easy and relaxed.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to be playing every single day.
No.
And struggling. So I think, if you can get the 2-0, that's always beneficial, especially for, you can sit back and watch everyone else play, look at your opponents play. You don't have to be worried about, playing a game later on in the day.
If you come out from Group A or Group B, you've got 3 days off. It's Tuesday now, so we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where they would literally have to do nothing. I mean, on Friday, we're going to obviously be traveling again to Nanjing, but it's still a day off essentially for these teams, so very relaxed. But then on the same token, you can say they might not have had the match practice that some of the other teams might have had, where they've been able to play 3 or more games coming through into those grand finals. So there's a bit of a pro and a con to both sides, but I definitely think if you can get those matches, those wins knocked over, you'd definitely be keen to clean things up if you're really any of the teams in Group A and B. And when you look at Group A as well, they even have a bit of an easier job because obviously Anubis is not here. Not that I think we necessarily expected them to be a huge contender this year in CFS, but one less team to deal with.
Yeah,
and it's a much easier run through to the finals for the teams in Group A at least.
Yeah, quick group.
Yeah, that's it. When you're looking at who is going to Nanjing, you're literally looking at there is potential you're going into that grand final. That's it. Like if you come through here through groups in the studio, you've just got one big game on the big stage, win, and then $500,000 richer.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds easy when you put it like that, doesn't it?
Right? Maybe we could make a team, guys, and Team Australia.
Yeah, well, I've thought about it.
No,
500,000.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, a lot of pressure. So yes, today it's going to be all our first round matches. As we said, later on in the afternoon or this evening, most likely we're going to see Group A and Group B, their winners match, which seeds them through to the quarterfinals on Thursday.
Yep.
And then tomorrow we've got Group C, Group D winners. So even if you are in Group C and Group D, you can come in tomorrow morning, win your upper bracket game, and then you're done. And you've got the whole day off. You come back in on Thursday and have one more match before pushing through. Potentially, Thursday's going to be the interesting day. You've got your quarterfinals leading into your semifinals as well. There's a bit of pressure there, certainly, for some of those teams. And then you don't get that time to prepare either. You don't have the opportunity to come through and study who your opponent's going to be. It's not back-to-back games, but very close to that.
Yeah, definitely. I am looking at the moment at all of the groups and just sort of theorizing who I might think will come out from each group. I think that might be something interesting to talk about, since I guess we've got a bit of time at the moment, just to kind of theorize as to what we think at least maybe the quarterfinals might end up looking like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the quarterfinals, we could fantasize about anything happening here, but, I do hope we only get, just a couple of Chinese teams, not all 3 of them.
I think you'd be a bit unlucky. I don't know that that's actually likely. I feel as though all 3 Chinese teams are going to go through.
Geez, that'd be devastating, I reckon, if you're one of the other teams, who are set to give them a run for their money. And, if we were to get, Q9 in there even, that would be pretty upsetting for the other teams in Group A. Like we're saying, they're one team short. It is just going to be Kawhi and Flipside in that group. Yep. So, what if it was both of those?
I don't know. I put a lot of faith in Flipside last year. I sort of was expecting them to do quite a bit of work, and they didn't necessarily live up to those expectations, I didn't think. And this year, there've been a lot of roster changes. We've got a few newer players that we didn't see in last year's CFS Grand Final. So, for me, actually, I think Flipside may be the team that doesn't actually come through from Group A. That said, we've been talking to a few of the guys, and a lot of teams have been saying that Q9 is looking a little bit susceptible at the moment. I always feel, or I always sort of tend to err on the side of caution when it comes to the Chinese teams and think, okay, well, scrim results is one thing, but when it comes to the actual matches that really do matter, I think that Q9 probably does come through here.
Oh, yeah.
I'd probably put Kawhi out in first place, I think, actually. I do think that they performed quite admirably last year, and with those questions about Q9 from Group A, I do think that they may suffer a loss to Kawhi, but I do think they probably have enough to get over Flipside. So for me, it's Kawhi, and then Q9 is first and second seed out from Group A.
The thing is, if you're a Chinese team and you're winning seasons in China, there's nowhere else in the world harder to win a season.
Yeah.
So I think for Q9, that's obviously something they can put in their trophy cabinet and say, look, we deserve to be here, and we are a shot to win it. So I think, definitely can't rule them out. I remember Kawhi, some of the players like Clarence last year, just absolutely having a tear. And I think that's what it will come down to when it does come to versing Chinese. It will be coming down to, trying to go on that individual level and trying to do something about them on that level, because that's where they stand out individually. They're all just so brilliant, especially when it does come down to the crunch. And I think that's where also a team like Black Dragons gets their name for being a strategic team. They're known as the most strategic team in the world. And I think that's a way also of breaking down the Chinese. If you can get them with teamwork and strategy and try and eliminate that vulnerability of the individuals having that power, then I think that's where these international teams can come in and have a chance.
Yeah, so we've spoken about Group A. Obviously, we've spoken about Group B at length now. I think as a whole, we're pretty confident to see ruLegends and perhaps Carbon coming through. Do you agree with that?
That would be my suspicion. At least in my opinion, I think those are the two strongest teams, the most likely to come through. Boss, for me, would be in third place in that sense. So I think it would go ruLegends, Carbon, Boss, and then JKOSAV Evolution. I'm not expecting so much out from the Indonesian roster. Not that I'm putting them away. I'm not saying that I think that they're going to necessarily get knocked out here straight away. I think there is still a possibility that they do come through. But in my mind, at least, they're the least likely to have that because of the experience, the lack of experience for them. And certainly that's what ruLegends and Carbon have in spades.
And just on paper and past results, you can't go past ruLegends and Carbon. So, I mean, that we're not taking anything away from them. See, they're having a bit
of
this,
bit
of a prayer.
Very big day for them, and they've done a lot of work.
I mean, to be honest, this could be the biggest day of their lives, really, for these players. You know, when you think this is probably something that they've been working towards for years and years and years, playing this game, trying to get to the grand finals, and now they're finally here, and it all comes down to today, because they could essentially be put in a position where they do get knocked out by the end of the day.
It's a tough position to be in, that's for sure. But look, it's down to yourselves now. It's down to the work that you've done and prepared as a team, and if they've worked towards this, they can find themselves perhaps with a good game here, looking towards their upper bracket again, maybe later today. That could be very exciting. Love to see it for them. Still a lot of work to be done to get through this Russian team.
Yeah, they're no slouches, right? And like I said, on paper, the results are there for them. And I think, if you're JKOSAV, you're going to need everything you can get to get through this game. But if they do somehow, surprise us and get that upset, I think we'll very much appreciate seeing an underdog victory and a great story coming through.
Yeah, definitely. So at the moment, obviously these guys are starting to get ready, starting to prepare themselves, making sure everything's all sorted out. But yeah, we're definitely expecting ruLegends and Carbon, or I think we're definitely expecting ruLegends to go through from Group B. Carbon and Boss, if that is a matchup that we do get to see.
If you ask Kyle, and if I'll ask him later today, he will say that Carbon is the team to watch.
I mean, he did say, I think, that he is expecting them to have a good performance.
Top secret information.
Well, no bias from him, that's for sure. But I would not necessarily disagree with him. I mean, we've got 4 players through from SCDX from last year. That was a team that beat Super Valiant. That was a team that made 4th place last year.
Honestly, if we went back in time to last year and we whispered in the ear of one of the players and we said, hey, just this round, just do this, it would have been SCDX.
Like, if they would have had that one round that really mattered.
That one round. It would have been them who came through to the grand final against Everton. So that's what we're talking about here when we talk about Team Carbon. They are definitely in with a chance. They know they made mistakes last time. Maybe they came into this tournament not as prepared as they would like to have been last year. And I think hopefully this year they've come in with everything ready to go. They've practiced. They've fixed up any issues they had with their lineup. So I just look forward to seeing them play later on today.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a pretty good year as well in that they were 2nd place at CFGI. They did end up losing to Pacific Mukta in that grand final there, but that's still a very, very impressive result. So you put that with a 4th place from last year's CFS and a 2nd place this year. They're only on the way up right now, so who knows? Maybe 1st place is where they end up at this tournament. I think it's probably a little too early to say that. I still want to see how they actually do perform as a roster, especially with Kai's coming in. Apparently he's a bit of a superstar, but for me, they are, I think, fairly solidly in 2nd place, but really Boss, I think, could cause an upset. You and I, Ben, have seen Boss play at the Invitational in Manila a couple of years ago, and we weren't expecting too much out from them, but they did pretty reasonably there as well, and it does tend to be that the teams that, at least that I've seen so far from Vietnam, are the ones that can cause some upsets.
They seem to be very strong. Maybe they don't, maybe they can't win, maybe they don't win, but they're capable of winning.
Or they're capable of ruining someone else's chance of winning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it. I mean, that can happen, especially with Boss here. They can, they can win their game, come up against ruLegends, drop them into the lower bracket. ruLegends just have a bad day at the office, still upset that they lost to Boss, and then don't make it out of the group stage. So, I mean, that's highly a good possibility. You can't rule anything out. When teams verse each other, someone has to win, someone has to lose. Someone has to lose. You get to a grand final, someone has to win, someone has to lose. That it's not like everyone can be a winner and walk away from a tournament. Someone will win this tournament here, and you've got to be in it to win it. And everyone who's in it can actually win it.
That's it. You're here. There's no more qualifying. You just have to. You're a few games away.
You're a percentage chance. Like no one is going to be 0%. You're here. You're in it. You're in the server. Anything can go your way.
You're the best of your region. you've earned your spot, you've done your work, and now today's the day. So I think we're getting very close to kicking this one off on the stage. Will be our first matchup of the day. We can get into the action right now.
JKOSAV and ruLegends, the two. Very excited to kick off CFS Grand Finals 2018, and it's not a bad match to start off with either, Ian, I don't think. We've got, obviously, ruLegends, a team that we have great expectations from, and we definitely have an underdog in this matchup as well. So good storylines for us, potential for an upset, and that's always exciting.
Bit of an appetizer, isn't it, really? I mean, yeah, you do look at these two teams, and we think ruLegends is to being way out in front, but, you know, as it stands right now, they're both even, right? So anything is possible, and like I said earlier, you get someone on a bad map or something like that, or something that favors you, then the underdog has a chance.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the win condition potentially for JKOSAV. Like, what do you think they actually have to do to get through with the win today?
Well, I think it's going to be quite tough because ruLegends, you know, on a map like this, they're going to be very well versed and already getting straight underway here. But it's just a 4-on-4. Everything's fine at the moment, but they've already got the bomb site, and we'll be looking to try and get that bomb down.
Yeah, and starting off very, very nicely at the moment for JKOSAV as they've picked up the first few kills. It is just Streak left, and this was a player that I talked about as being a potential sort of star player for ruLegends. We saw him have a great performance last year and does manage to hit a nice shot there onto Drones, who picked up a couple of his own earlier on in this round. But a 1v2, it was a 1v4. He's already turned it into much more favorable odds for himself. I think this is definitely doable.
Yeah,
for
any clutch is doable in this game. Yeah, you can get kills on low HP. You don't have to trade HP out every time. And look at that, even with the pistol, he's just an absolute freak.
Well, this is exactly what you need to be doing in a situation like this. Trying to find those 1v1s, trying to use your utility, and trying to force those rotations, and play that mind game up against who is now left is Ev9 for JKOSAV.
He's going to have to retrieve the bomb, though, isn't he? So, I'm not sure about that. But does he know Evo's whereabouts? Has Evo gotten a kill from where he was, Jordan? I don't think he has.
He has not. He has not. He was set up in a crossfire with the second last player that did actually go down there. So,
and with the amount of time you've got on the clock, you've got to assume there's going to be a level of roaming going on as well. So, but Treek is in the bomb site. He's looking around everywhere. I mean, we saw so many clutches last year that were just unbelievable.
Well, exactly. I mean, there's no point not going for a clutch, you know. So you got to try and give it your best shot. He's got a nice angle down here. The thing is going to be, though, if he actually recognizes where the enemy player is, and at the moment, spotting him out, there's just going to be a headshot out there. I think that's Treek. He's actually won the round. 1v4, Ian.
Wow.
Great start in the end for ruLegends. And, I mean, this is... I don't know if this is an insight into the future for how this rest of this match is going to go, but if you're JKOSAV and you're losing a 1v4 like that in the first round, it's not really where you want to be at all.
No, absolutely. That's a kick in the pants, especially since they had that huge lead in the round. But as we talked about, the clutches are just insane. Got a good setup here going for ruLegends to spread out across the map again. And you can see that three-man hitman squad for JKOSAV just working together. We saw this a lot, actually. This three-man push, you get quite a lot done.
Suar having some troubles, but doesn't actually get the better of Zata. And Treek chiming in again with another 2K. He's got 6 kills already in this game. This might be a 7th for him. He'll be traded out. That's good enough. And it's a 3v1 in the favor of ruLegends. This round already looking much more apt, I think, than the last.
Now, the question is whether or not Baron can get anything done from this position. Sitting back, sort of letting ruLegends dictate his fate, but see what he can do. Minute 20 still left on the clock. They're just starting to get long now. Heading towards that A bomb site, which they don't know is empty, but that's why they're taking it with such caution and togetherness. Bit of a bait as well, you know, the bunny hop going in. Try and draw Baron's fire.
Yeah, bomb going to go down, though, for ruLegends, so... the scales tip a little bit more in their favor.
I don't think Baron has a chance, but I'm not going to rule him out.
Well, we just saw a 1v4 out from ruLegends. Let's see if Baron can execute a 1v3. Nice fundamentals, at least, out from ruLegends this time as they all peak at the same time. Baron, no chance there at all.
Good teamwork. Obviously, you're a victim of the inaccuracy of the AK, but still gave it his best shot. If they did come towards the B bomb site, you know, you never know what he could have done. But they have chosen correctly as the fire in the hole rings out once again, Jordan.
Yeah. Quite a lot of utility being thrown out here on long, and that's going to allow ruLegends out quite safely for the moment. Straight on the entry, we'll find Zata, who so far hasn't managed to pick up a kill yet. for JKOSAV. He's the only one and hasn't been able to get on the board. Freak finally goes down. The Danger Man has been dropped and no trade this time from Drace. So back to a 4v4. Best chance we've seen so far from JKOSAV, but they need to hold on to this A bomb side. And at the moment, seems like they're actually able to do it.
Yeah, that was some nice work there from Baron. Does get one in the side, but look at that, the instant reply coming out of ruLegends.
Yeah, XOR and Drace this time stepping up for their roster and again putting it into a 2v1. Drones so far, I will say, I think has been the best performer for JKOSAV, but we've really only seen so much out from him. His position perfectly covered by XOR. He knew exactly where the peak was going to come from, and that's another round on the board for ruLegends. All of a sudden up 3-0, and things are looking fantastic.
Definitely, that little window is one to watch for. I mean, that early on in the round as well, you know it's the only place he can be unless you've seen some action out of drones earlier in the round. So pretty obvious peak, but nonetheless dealt with quite efficiently. JKOSAV, though, starting to feel the pressure here a little bit.
I would definitely feel as though they are. At the moment, ruLegends don't seem to be under any pressure for themselves. I think the 1v4 from Treek really started them off nicely. The momentum certainly in their favor. They think, okay, well, if he can do that, it doesn't seem like we have really any problems at all. So for now, ruLegends are able to really just storm all over JKOSAV. This time, their first entry into the B bomb side. A good kill from Ivan there. And JKOSAV look like they're going to hold strong, at least for now. Vice and Treek need to step up, need to bring something back for ruLegends.
Beautiful crossfire there by JKOSAV. Saw it time and time again last year.
Well, back to a 2v2.
Well, with the flashbangs and everything ringing out, you know, only one person can fight at a time. So it's quite difficult, actually, for ruLegends to get into this bomb site. It's one of the harder bomb sites of this map. And I think JKOSAV have done a pretty good job. And now, yeah, they need to just stop this clutching from happening, especially from Treek. 7 kills already.
He was marked as the man to watch from ruLegends. And so far, that has definitely been the case. Still alive in this round. Dangerous times for JKOSAV as ruLegends will back away. They'll disengage the fight. They've still got a minute to work with, so plenty of time to rotate across the map. And JKOSAV at the moment, still quite content to sit on B, watching a bit in towards middle. But with this rotation over to A from both sides now, JKOSAV may not be in the worst positions here. It's all onto Baron for now.
Baron is going looking for them. Hopefully he can hear the bomb planning and try and strike while the iron is hot. They know it has to be the A site, surely by now. The footsteps ring out. Should expect the rotate to come through. Treek, though, with that sniper trained on that window, it's going to be very difficult for Baron to get past, but he does.
Well, bomb did go down.
Yeah, very interesting. Oh, nice flashes there.
Nice shot from Treek in response. Baron perhaps need to wait for his teammate there, looking for the trade. Treek has no idea that he's actually out onto the side already, but he hits a fantastic flick. 9 kills for Treek and another round for ruLegends.
What a shot.
Ian, I'm starting to feel a little bit worried for JKOSAV.
Just get something on the board, boys. You know, try and represent Indonesia, do them proud. But what can you do against that, really? ruLegends don't even look surprised at Treek getting that shot.
I mean, in the fact that he doesn't even spot him coming out the window and then still hits that flick. I thought for sure that was the first round for JKOSAV. But in the end, ruLegends come away with the win. Bit more of a default setup from ruLegends this round by the looks of things.
Quite interesting that they're steering away from that A bomb site early on in the piece, and they're veering towards this B site, which is, you know, you always got that heavy crossfire, but they are slowly coming up through middle, and they're clearing things out left and right together as a team. Treek gets a shot down middle. Doesn't do any damage, though. XFP versus Treek, that's what I wanted to see, but obviously the sniper on the defense, not as impactful.
Treek is just unstoppable right now. 2 headshot kills. Walking straight into the A site. Picks up the AK now, looking for XFP. And you might get your wish here, Ian. And it looks like it's going to be XFP to find the win, at least in that small duel. But immediately traded out by Stray as the bomb does get planted by Vice. 2 kills for Stray on the entry there as well. And 11-3 up for Treek at the moment. He just appears to be absolutely unstoppable.
And I mean, to be honest, that's just Treek setting the pace, you know, because he's just coming in and seal clubbing these, JKOSAV guys. That should have been a clear trade in their favor, but obviously they're on the back foot. They're afraid, or, you know, they don't have the confidence that they'll have. And you can see it in their gameplay. XFP constantly retreating while taking a firefight against Treek with just a pistol. And so you've got to wonder, you know, if you're not in it to win it, you're not in it.
Exactly. And this time, we're not going to see a kill out from Zada once again. Still not managing to get himself on the board. 0-6 at the moment. It's the pincer strike from ruLegends as they come up through long and over the bridge. JKOSAV, unfortunately, not able to stand up to the aggression and the power of ruLegends at the moment. XFP at least able to trade one back, but it's still a 3v4 post-plant scenario now for ruLegends as well.
I don't know how they're going to get out of this window, Jordan. I don't think it's a likely possibility, but Trey is also set up on that short piece, and Stray will go down. Gives away his position, though, and Vase, they're just going to finish it off nice and easy.
Nice and easy indeed. That seems exactly what it is for ruLegends at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been one close round, which was the initial round, the 1v4, and that one went the way of ruLegends against all the odds. Now they're up to 6-0, and I can't tell you any of these rounds have looked close in my eyes.
It just flipped the momentum instantly, didn't it? And I mean, poor JKOSAV, they were in it. They had a really great first round, and since then, ruLegends just got into the game. Too quick, too fast, and consummate professionals as well. And you can just see that dictating the pace everywhere. You can see a little bit of a cheeky push out from JKOSAV on that B site. So see if Drones is able to get anything for his money.
Yeah, the thing is though, I don't think he's going to be able to be traded. So if he only gets one here, it's not going to be enough, and it is a 1-for-1 in the end as Vice will get the trade there. And ruLegends, they still secure map control, and they now secure man advantage after that kill from Drace. It hasn't worked out for JKOSAV. Needed a couple of players there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. He just needed something as well as a distraction, or it may be a crossfire. But again, the crossfires from JKOSAV haven't been that good. This B bomb site crossfire was actually very effective last time, forced ruLegends off to the A site. But, you know, like I said, it's very rare you'll see a B take unless you have that full execute with all the utility. And even then, you know, one person is still able to fight the whole time.
Oh, Ivan almost caught off behind the boxes there, but he'll actually get two. It's Vice and Drace to go down. Treek with the trade. And now just XUR left in a 1v2. Can another clutch occur here for ruLegends into a 1v1? I think he might have spotted Zata out there. But for Zata, now the most important kill that he could get in this entire map. So far, still looking for one. And if you're going to get one, it better be this.
Just the fact that he was able to get it down to a 1v1 so quickly as well. But yeah, Zata now, it's his opportunity to get the boys on the board. 0 and 6, the sniper on the the blacklist side. Very difficult, you know, on this map. So
another one for ruLegends.
But just as I say that, yeah, ruLegends obviously too sharp and catching him off guard, I think.
Up to 7-0 now, Ian. I mean, this to me sort of feels like it's a very real possibility of getting our 10-0 to start off the tournament.
Well, think about it. Every time Zata has died, they've lost a round. So he's probably their most impactful player. Important, maybe. The MVP.
The
if
MVP
he just stayed
for
alive.
ruLegends, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for JKOSAV right now, they need to step up. Someone needs to do something. I mean,
they're just getting bullied.
Obviously, you can look to Zata and say he hasn't had an impact on the scoreboard, but the reality is that the rest of JKOSAV as well have not been able to finish off rounds that probably should have been winnable for them.
Well, Zata's opportunity just went by there, but obviously Baron's going to finish the job.
That was a bit interesting out from Treek on his own over on the B-bomb site, trying to entry frag with a sniper rifle. Never going to be easy.
Well, look at the fake he's done.
Exactly.
The whole team is now rotated off to the B site, so it's a free plant for the boys on ruLegends over on A. And again, a very difficult job to retake that bomb site.
Yeah, Stray gets a little bit unfortunate there as Ivan does take him down. I think that probably should have been Stray's kill. So again, another chance here for JKOSAV. It's a 3v4 player advantage for ruLegends, immediately taken away as Drace jumping out into middle will actually go down to Zata. Does a fair bit of damage there though, and XUR and Vice, the ones to try and hold off on this post-plant situation now for ruLegends. Only 15 seconds left right now for JKOSAV, so pressure from that timer, and Vice will get both. And another round goes the way of ruLegends.
A little bit too easy for them at this moment, and that's what we were talking about in the pregame as well. We were just trying to point out that ruLegends are actually this powerhouse team, and a team like JSV coming in to this event are going to be short favourites by far. There's no, we really did try and rule them out and say they just need to get some numbers on the board. But who knows, maybe when they switch over to that global risk side, then they'll be able to get a couple of rounds and try and get some pride for Indonesia.
Yeah, well, that would be ideal. You definitely don't want to go down 0-10 in your first match of CFS Grand Finals 2018. But for ruLegends, on the same token, you know, there's always a winner and a loser. And in this case, ruLegends, if they start off with a 10-0, who could ask for a better start to the tournament?
Well, the thing is, I feel like they realised in that first round as well, you know, let's not try and take this game too seriously, because that's where JSV will be able to get us maybe. Perhaps if we are a bit more free-flowing and just go with it and keep it down to the do the basics right, that's where we can get on top of JSV.
Well, they haven't found Zata just yet, though they do eventually check. Must have been spotted Great work from ruLegends again, just peeking all at the same time. This time, it is straight to find a couple of kills. Exiwa with another one as they enter in toward the A bomb site. And ruLegends have had so much success over on this side of the map. And they haven't been to B apart from that one round. And I guess why would you at this point?
Like I said, that B bomb site is very difficult to get into. You only want to do it as a last resort. They've had a lot of success coming up towards A, and especially in this long area here, the crossfire just hasn't been very effective for JKOSAV. So ruLegends going to walk away with that one as well.
Yeah, no questions asked that at the moment ruLegends are looking like the better team here in this matchup, which is really what we expected, but maybe not to this extent. Obviously, first half done and dusted, not a single round going the way of JKOSAV so far. And I don't know that they will get around here, Ian. I just don't see any of the individuals having the same impact that the individuals of the ruLegends players are having. You know, we've seen massive stuff from Treek to start things off, and then Vice and Stray started to seem to really get involved toward the end of things.
Just because the map is so big, there's only a couple of opportunities for a crossfire. It's a very hard map to defend. So you do usually see the Global Risk team get up on top, but there is an opportunity here for JSV if they're able to push through a defense, you know, whether it be the B, the middle, up short, or out long. There's an opportunity for them to, you know, lock ruLegends out of a site, get the bomb down, stop the retake, but they've got to get there, and it's going to be very difficult. Like, you can see really great positioning here for ruLegends.
A little bit more aggressive positioning, I feel, than JKOSAV as well. They're a little bit more comfortable pushing out of their bomb sites on this defensive side, taking a little bit more map control, which is going to put a bit more doubt in the mind of JKOSAV here. They'll have to fight for every little inch at the moment.
You can see they're taking it very slow as well.
Yeah, no contest just yet from JKOSAV.
I remember Drace from last year. He was absolutely a gun. So he's going to hold off this area all on his lonesome. Doesn't need much backup, but Vase as well has that short area. They're very pushed up, the ruLegends team. I think that's what JKOSAV is trying to figure out before they attack. They've got to weed out these individuals who have pushed up further. But maybe, I mean, look, it's all she wrote for JKOSAV, to be honest. They just need to lose one round and they're out.
Yeah, you can't afford any mistakes.
Yep.
Anything is possible, but this does seem certainly very improbable. Smoking their way out onto long. Not a whole lot of time left to work with here, and we can already see at least 3 of the ruLegends players over on the A bomb site, one of them being Treek with the sniper rifle. A great angle for him to hold all the way down long. And JKOSAV will not have too much fun getting through there, I don't feel.
And that smoke is going to give away their plan as well if they do commit to the A long site. But also, they've caused that rotation with just a smoke. So the longer they wait, the questions will be asked from ruLegends. Is it still going to be A? And here comes the execute from JKOSAV.
Well, Treek will take the peak, and he'll take the kill as well. Stray able to get one for himself. That's it. That's going to be it. ruLegends 10-0. Can you believe it? JKOSAV have not even managed to pick up a single round, and what a start for ruLegends.
Absolutely, and I mean, you got to feel for JKOSAV. They didn't get a chance. They turned up in that first round, and then after that, it was a complete destruction of their team. Their defense was just pulled apart, piece by piece.
Yeah, not really sure what to say about that one, but for ruLegends, I think that is exactly how they would have wanted to start. You really can't ask for a better start to the tournament, and even if it is against what we would maybe consider as a quote-unquote weaker team, it's still a 10-0.
It was. It does not get any quicker than that, any simpler than that for ruLegends. So a big congratulations to them coming through with a 10-0, even when they were down, even, you know, 2v1s or more so 1v2s and like that. They still managed to come back. They show, man, that's insane. So it's not that individual skill and obviously extreme experience in this sort of scenario.
I mean, a 10-0 is not something that you see every day, especially not at a tournament of this caliber. And for ruLegends to come out with a win like that, I think that really is putting their mark stamp straight on this tournament. That is a statement from ruLegends saying we're here to play and we're here to win.
Yeah, well, so JKOSAV Evolution for them. It's not the end of the world. They still have, they can head down now to the lower bracket, and we'll see who they go up against later on. But let's be fair here, Ian. There are not many tougher opponents to go up against. First game, first cab off the rank, and it's ruLegends.
Nothing says potential champions like a 10-0 smashing. So they looked very fierce in that game. I think the Indonesians, like I said, they got blown away after that first round that they could have won, maybe got a little disheartened. And then after that, nothing that they did really could prepare them for ruLegends have done. So yeah, nothing says see you in the quarterfinals or the semifinals like that does.
Yeah, and for ruLegends now, they get to take a break. They get to sit back and and wait. They'll have a game later tonight up against the other top team in their group, and there's pros and cons to that as well, I suppose, Jordan.
Yeah.
You get to sit back, you get to relax now, but it's still quite a long day. They're going to hang around.
Yeah, definitely. You got to stay around. You got to stay sort of warmed up in a sense. I think they're probably still going to be playing on the practice machines, keeping those scrims going, and trying to keep themselves at least involved in the game until they do end up going up against at least what we would consider to be Carbon based on our assumptions. But it really could be anyone at this point. This group, even despite that result, could still kind of go anyway. I mean, JKOSAV haven't really performed too well, but for ruLegends, we have a bit of a better idea as to how things are going to go throughout this competition, so definitely expecting them to be a strong contender.
Well, that's our first match done and dusted here at CFS 2018 day number 1. We're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, more CFS 2018 action.
December 2018, CROSSFIRE Stars begins a new fight. CFS 2018 will gather 24 top teams from 11 regions around the world in Taitung and Nanjing, China for Project S. December 4th to 6th, the group stage matches, the tournament stage quarterfinals, and semifinals will take place in Taitung. December the 8th, event matches for CROSSFIRE HD featuring top teams will be awaiting in Nanjing. December the 9th, the CROSSFIRE Legends tournament along with the CROSSFIRE final matches will determine the CFS 2018 World Champions. Guns are locked and loaded, and players are ready for an intense clash. CROSSFIRE Stars 2018, together in Taitung and Nanjing, China. Together, roaring with enthusiasm inside the arena of battle. Together, making history to become the true legend of CROSSFIRE.
This is our, I think, my 12th time here in China.
Well, our team has been to China 3 times in the past year.
Наша команда была больше, чем 7 раз в Китае.
Feels so good to come back here again.
Практиковали, играли и чувствуем себя более уверенно, чем обычно.
I would say in the groups, we're looking most forward to playing ruLegends.
Que este año estamos más fuertes que nunca.
Our main goal here in the tournament is to become the champion and bring the title to the Philippines.
I like duck.
Rice of chicken.
My favorite Chinese food is Huanminji.
Hot pot.
Our favorite food is hot pot.
Yeah, those chicken noodles.
Tiongkok CFS 2018.
CFS 2018.
We're coming!
CFS 2018, wir sind hier.
CFS 2018.
CFS 2018.
We are coming.
CFS 2018. Estamos chegando.
CFS 2018, estamos chegando!
CROSSFIRE Stars, мы идем.
CFS 2018. Vamos!
是中国赛区的选手林肯，我在队伍里面担任的角色是断后和辅助。穿火线这个项目打职业已经打了8年了。
Hi, I'm Kart from Execration team.